Porsche recorded a record profit of $3 billion last year and is one of the most profitable companies in the world. Most of that is down to the glorious cars they produce, but $500 million comes from selling people like you and me accessories. I'm not talking about the fancy pens and Porsche branded racing bikes, I mean overpriced rebranded accessories for your car. Like this Porsche battery maintainer, which they charge over £180 or euros for, but in reality it's just a rebranded version of the C-Tech charger. A great battery maintainer by all means, but they are charging an extra £110 just for some different stickers. In this video, I'm going to show you what I use as a viable alternative to the battery maintainer made by Porsche, the Noco. I'll then show you how I install it on my 996 Turbo and how I use it on a daily basis. And just before I get into it, I just want to tell you that I'm not sponsored and I'm not being paid to promote this product. I've been using this Noco Genius 5 for just over a year now, and if you own a Porsche from the early 2000s, you'll know that the battery needs to be kept charged regularly. The Noco comes packaged almost like an Apple product, with full instructions and a high-class printed box. If you've used a battery maintainer before, you'll see that it's about half the size of one with a more traditional design like the C-Tech I mentioned earlier. The company says it's 35% smaller than its predecessor and 65% smaller than competitors. It also comes with some useful safety features that I'll get into in a minute, including this keyed design which stops you from reversing the polarity by mistake. The battery maintainer and the cable fit together nicely with a strong click one way. When you try to reverse either of the cables, they no longer fit together at all. The dust covers included on the end of each cable also stop the connectors getting dirty. Very useful, especially if you keep the battery charger in your garage or with your spare wheel when not in use. Much like an Apple product, what's included in the box is unfortunately the bare minimum to get going. You get the battery maintainer and a set of clips that double as a permanent battery connector. I found these really difficult to detach, however, and opted to use the clips instead. This leads me on to another negative about the Noco. Although the initial cost of one of these devices is very competitive, accessories like extra cables and connectors are expensive. As you can see, Noco offers many different types of accessories, including heavy-duty clips and a cigarette lighter attachment that I'll show you later in the video. Each of these additional cables will set you back roughly £20. These attachments are high quality, however, and the majority of the cables include a fuse for added peace of mind. Now to my 996 Turbo. As a lot of you probably know, the battery for the 996 cars is kept under the bonnet. As I mentioned, I keep the supplied clips connected to the battery at all times, so I'm ready to charge whenever I get back to my garage. Just as a quick note, this is how I use my Noco battery charger, but other battery maintainers will most likely be installed in the same way. The easy connection cable that stays on your car the whole time will need to be installed onto the battery the first time you use a battery maintainer. To access the battery on the 996, I need to undo two little plastic thumb screws on the battery cover and then take the cover out gently, careful not to break any of the plastic tabs. As you can see, I use the crocodile clips to keep the cable onto my battery. This isn't something I would recommend doing. As I mentioned, this portion of the cable stays on the car permanently, and the clips could fall off while driving quite easily. Another Noco feature prevents current flowing through the cable if it doesn't sense a battery load, so there's not much chance of causing any damage, but a loose connection will stop your car from charging overnight. Having said that, I've been using this setup for quite a while and haven't encountered any issues. A much better idea is to unscrew the clips from the battery connector hoops and permanently connect these to the battery terminals. This isn't easy as the screws are pretty firm and I just decided to use the clips instead. Hopefully they make this more user-friendly in the future. Once the wire is permanently connected to your car, you're good to go. Now every time you come back to your garage, you can just clip the main Noco brick in and you'll start charging immediately. Once plugged in, the Noco should display how much charge your battery has. In my case, it's on one red bar. Also, if you like that electrifying plug-in sequence, please consider liking and subscribing below. Anyway, moving on. Once you've replaced the car's battery cover, you hopefully shouldn't need to open it again for a long while. So once I've closed the cover and done up the plastic screws tightly, I route the wires around the side of the cover. This way, the clip stays tucked out, ready for you to return home and start charging. I place my clip on top of the battery cover as it's slightly soft and allows the bonnet to close easily. I keep my car in a shared car park, so it's also important that I keep the car locked at all times. You'll notice that the seals for the front bonnet are soft and there is just enough space between where two of the clips go to fit your wire through and still close the car completely. This is the best way I've found, but please drop a comment down below if there is a better way of doing this. As I mentioned, I also splurged on the cigarette lighter adapter. This is an easy alternative to messing around with the battery, but only if your car leaves the cigarette lighter port live when the ignition is off. This is the case with most Porsches and indeed most high-performance cars, but it is worth double checking. An easy way to check this is to see if the power light goes on to the lighter adapter even when the Noco isn't plugged in. This means the car is supplying the LED a tiny bit of energy to keep it lit. As I mentioned, I haven't been paid to review this product and I bought this charger myself and have been very impressed with it so far. If you are thinking of getting one though, please do consider using my link below. It doesn't cost you anything extra and will help me grow this channel. On that note, thanks for watching guys.